The latest addition to the car maker's stable might bear a Korean manufacturer's logo, but the iX20 is made in Germany. Developed at Hyundai's design centre in Rüsselsheim, the Mini Multipurpose Vehicle, or MPV, is aimed at active nuclear families. That's why all three packages for the model include two child seat mounts in back as a standard. The iX20 starts at the press of a button. Three motors are available for the car, two gasoline-driven and one diesel. For an extra €400, you can also have the low-consumption blue variant of the iX20. We tested the smallest blue gasoline variant. Like all low-consumption models, it has an automatic stop-start function, though it's only active at temperatures above 2 degrees Celsius. The 1.4-litre four-cylinder engine supplies 66 kilowatts of power. The manufacturer says that compared to the standard version, the blue model burns about half a litre less fuel per 100 kilometres. A signal helps to optimise shifting through the 5 gears. The other two motors offer a 6th gear as well. And though the iX20 is small, it offers a convincing amount of space. There are 440 cubic litres of volume in the trunk behind the high-slung seats. Enough room to take along even bulky objects, like sleds or a collapsible baby carriage. The iX20's exterior is sporty. Up front, the divided grille has an eye-catching web-like design. Cornering lights for improved safety are part of the mid-level upgrade package. Large windows make the interior look spacious and airy. And the car maker closes the design circle in back. The recess that surrounds the license plate is the same shape as the grille up front. The rear seats can be folded down in two separate units. When they're all down, the iX20 has nearly 1,500 litres of cargo space. Also practical, a net spanned across the floor of the loading space that can be used to secure smaller items in the trunk. And drivers don't have to skimp on comfort. Plenty of functions can be controlled from the Hyundai steering wheel. The interior is clearly structured and the materials used are attractive. Ports for a variety of different electronic devices are also standard. The seats are comfortable and the amount of leg and headroom in back is satisfactory. The rear seats can also be pushed forward or backward 13 centimetres, depending on where space is needed at any given moment. Of course, you can't expect an MPV to handle like a sports car, but the suspension is comfortable enough, and on its home turf in the city, the iX20 is fun to drive. The rear-view camera is a big help when parking, though it can take some getting used to. Most drivers tend not to trust it right away. All in all, the iX20 is a challenge that manufacturers of models like Opel's Meriva or VW's Golf Plus will have to take seriously. Not least because of the price. At just under €15,000 in Germany for the basic version, the new Hyundai is throwing down the glove to its more expensive competitors. Volkswagen presented its new super low consumption concept car at the Qatar Motor Show. With perfect aerodynamics, a lightweight body and plug-in hybrid drive, the XL1 is the most economical hybrid car in the world. It burns just under a litre of fuel for every 100 kilometres on the road. The concept car is the third in a line of low-consumption vehicles envisioned by VW boss Ferdinand Piëch 10 years ago. And with the XL1, the carmaker has moved a big step closer to its goal. Mercedes has launched its new high-performance convertible, the CLS 63 AMG. Buyers can choose between two power variants for the four-door sports car. The more sedate choice is the ferocious 386-kilowatt 5.5-litre V8 bi-turbo engine, which packs 700 newton-meters of torque. For those with a real need for speed, there's the performance package, a 410-kilowatt motor that catapults the CLS 63 AMG from a standstill to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.3 seconds flat. In spite of that speed, Mercedes says the car burns just two-thirds as much fuel as its predecessor. SUVs have become a common sight on German streets, mostly because these useful vehicles also offer a pleasant driving experience. Today, our tester, Mathis Kurat, is checking out one of these modern workhorses from the ground up. Mathis says that you used to need locomotives or other means to transport heavy loads, like this one here that was used in a salt mine up in the mountains. But nowadays, he says, it's simpler and easier to do it with a car like the VW Touareg. It can tow up to 3 tons, and he's going to be testing the 3-litre TDI version today. VW's Blue Motion series is the car maker's low-consumption line. And to live up to the reputation, the car has not only a stop-start automatic function, but a regenerative brake energy recovery system. And in terms of travelling comfort, the Touareg is top-notch. Mathis says that when you order the optional pneumatic suspension, you have 3 settings to choose from: comfortable, normal and sporty, so you can adjust it depending on the terrain. If you're off-roading, you set the level high. When you're back on the Autobahn, he says, then you can dial it back down.
Wenn ich auf der Autobahn unterwegs bin, drehe ich die Niveauregulierung wieder nach unten.
According to VW, the Touareg burns an average 7.6 litres of fuel for 100 kilometres on the road. That was way off the number in our test, 9.9, but we did push it to the limit at times. The 176 kilowatts of power accelerate the SUV to 100 kilometres an hour in 7.8 seconds. The VW speed topped out at 218 kilometres an hour. The Touareg's exterior design makes a dynamic, muscular impression. The typical VW nose is similar to that of the Jetta, Passat and Polo. Its attractive silhouette makes the Touareg look powerful but not pretentious. The interior is spacious and inviting. That's partially due to the overall feeling of excellent workmanship and choice of materials, especially when it comes to the comfortable leather seats. Mathis says that he mentioned back at the start of the report that the Touareg can pull quite a bit. Today, he isn't going to be transporting anything like these pillars of rock, just a couple of normal suitcases. But they're pretty heavy. Fortunately, he says, he can use the pneumatic suspension to lower the loading surface in back, so he doesn't have to heave the bags up so high. That makes the loading of the trunk easier, he says. If you want to transport more than 2 suitcases, then that's no problem, says Mathis. The unaltered trunk has a 580-litre volume, up to around 670 litres if you fill it all the way to the roof. And if you lower the back seats by pressing this button, then you have 1,642 litres of space. If that still isn't enough for you, he says, then you can press another button to extend this optional tow coupling and add a trailer weighing up to 3 tons. If that still isn't enough for you, then Mathis suggests buying a commercial truck rather than a Touareg. Another very useful feature is a system that gives you a bird's eye view of the car, continues our car tester. It all works through cameras installed in both the side mirrors, as well as one in the front and another in the back. It gives you a good view of everything happening around the car. For example, you can see if a small child is on the right-hand side of the vehicle. You can see the audio sound engineer crouched outside the car, says Mattis. Without the camera, he wouldn't be visible because he's too close to the ground. That's a practical safety feature that also makes a lot of sense for a car the size of the Touareg. At 4 metres 80 long, 170 tall and 1 metre 94 centimetres in width, the SUV is not the easiest car in the world to find a parking space for. So what does our test driver think at the end of the day? Mattis says there's very little to criticise on the VW Touareg. One of the things that does bother him, however, is the price. The basic version in Germany costs just over €50,000, and there are plenty of extras like the rear-view cameras, electric leather seats and other goodies that you'll definitely want to have as well. Another problem is consumption, although the Blue Motion version is actually economical enough, he thinks. Otherwise, the workmanship, both inside and out, meets pretty much every wish. And if you open your wallet wide enough, he says, then the extras are excellent. The handling and drivetrain are also great. All in all, the Touareg is a big improvement over this locomotive. Especially because with the Touareg, you don't have to lay any tracks to get where you want to go. It might not look like much more than a boring grey 1970s family car, but looks can be famously deceptive. This old Ford Granada has earned the title of the fastest such car in Germany, but its suitability for daily use helps keep up its mousy appearance. That said, Udo Fink rarely uses his souped-up Ford for running errands, although he doesn't mind taking his son out for a spin every now and then. There's something about wolves dressed up as lambs which seems to appeal to boys of all ages. The modest exterior is part of the car's concept. Although there are some seriously high-performance radiators sticking out from below the grille, the rest of the bodywork is still true to the Granada's original slick design. But as Udo Fink explains, beneath its modest exterior, his car is pretty racy. He says the original 2-litre model was a metallic gold with a beige interior. Now it has a 5.4-litre Chevy engine with 2 turbos and a horsepower of about 750. It does 0 to 200 in less than 10 seconds and is fitted with 16-inch tyres. Udo says he's made a lot of modifications to the car, including moving the engine back 30 centimetres and lowering it another 20. Too many modifications to restrict the use of his car to trips to the diner. Udo and his speed-hungry Granada are regulars at dragster tracks. Traditionally, these quarter-mile races are dominated by American automobiles with serious power output, raging 8-cylinder engines and designs which scream speed. Beneath the hood, the original 6 cylinders that once sat in neat rows have been replaced by 8 in a V constellation. 2 turbochargers give the motor even more oomph, and as Udo explains, there are many little extras that make it what it is. He says there is a control lamp for electronic data logging, which shows him when something is being recorded. Then there is the button for the actual recordings, and another which activates an RPM limiter. There is also a speed control for the fuel pump, and another switch that activates the trans brake. Finally, Udo points out the pressure boost controls and the road and racetrack switches. And then there is the computer, which Ford might be surprised to learn Udo uses to manage the engine in the old car. All round, the customised Granada is perfect, thanks to Udo Fink and his long-term dedication to the model. He says he bought his first Granada in 1988 when all his friends were driving Opel Diplomats. Because his wheels were nothing special, he bought an Opel Diplomat for 200 Deutschmarks, tore out the engine and gearbox and put them in the Granada. He says that gave him quite a bit more road cred. Udo has long been a permanent fixture at Germany's drag racing scene. The first race, and Udo's rubber is burning. Everything seems to be in perfect working order. But the race doesn't go as well as intended. Gearbox troubles mean Udo has lost crucial microseconds. He has to do better than 12 seconds to qualify. He says the new gearbox is not perfect and that he made a mistake and played around too much. But now he's made some alterations to optimise its performance and has got it back to the way it always was, which means the car's now fighting fit again. In the second race, Udo has plenty of power, but his gearbox is giving him problems again. Even so, he manages to complete the 402 metres in 11.3 seconds, thereby defending his legendary title as owner of the fastest Granada in Germany. On his third round, Udo comes within half a second of his best time, 10.79 seconds for 402 metres. His souped-up Granada is back on form. And Udo's dream of a four-wheeled wolf dressed up as a lamb lives on.